Okay, YouTube, as you can see, this boy is pretty much done. Well, paint work. Got a little bit more detailing to do. I gotta polish a few more spots that I ain't really comfortable with yet, but overall, that boy look good. So today we're not gonna do that. Today I'm gonna actually get my hands dirty and do some mechanical work. I'm gonna do the rotor and brake swap out, and I'm gonna put new ball joints on here. So I'm gonna give you a full video. I'm gonna try to be as detailed as possible and show you everything that you're gonna need in the whole process. All right, here we go. Like I was saying, I'm gonna put new ball joints in. I'm praying I don't have a hard time because I gotta press these in. I had to go over here, I had to go rent a tool. This is for your pressing your ball joints in. I got it from Advanced Auto Parts. I rented it. It was like $250 deposit just to rent this damn thing, but you need it. It's a must. There's my new rotors. I got new ball joints for the front and the rear. I even got new grease caps. I'll show you that as we go along. And then my new calipers with the new pins, and I'm gonna explain some details with these pins as we get to it. So let's get to it, come on. Okay, YouTube. So here we go. I got the wheels off. I'm gonna show you everything you need and where I'm gonna start at. So what I got is this 3/8 Allen head for the caliper screws, which is this right here. There's two of them. A 3/8 ratchet, needle nose pliers, a couple different flat screwdrivers. I got me a little putty knife just so I can get inside this oil cap on the rotor. If my screwdriver don't work, I can use that. Don't need your, it's a tire rod separator, but ball joint tire rod separator, little fork. I got a couple of hammers, some penetrating oil. It's a must-have. You can just spray your screws. I'm gonna take off my tire rod screws so I can have a little more room to play in here. So I'm gonna spray the bolt for the ball joint, which is right there. And my tire rod bolt. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get ready to get started. So everything else here is just my specialty tools. Got an air ratchet, and in case I get into any trouble, I might heat up that ball joint. That ball joint is pressed in. I got the tool that I showed you earlier, so it shouldn't be a problem, but sometimes I just heat them up real good and knock them out with a hammer and then press the new one back in. So we'll see what I decide to do on this one. I might use the press to get it out and put it back in, so just depends on how I feel. But I'm gonna put the camera back down and just start recording. If you think anything, I'll stop and then explain it to you. Actually, let me show you this real quick. The reason why I wanted to change these whole calipers, besides getting the red ones, was because the bushings inside my calipers where the screws go, they wore out. So it's a bunch of play in here. So when I be driving, you hear that? Every little bump you hit, caliper shake. You're like, what the hell is that noise? So It's little rubber bushings that go in here. And they either come out or they go bad. You can kind of see it in there. I'll show you when I get ready to do the install. A little black bushing in there. So all right, let's get to it. Okay, as you just seen, got the grease cap off. I've got the, looks like a little bitty extra spacer cap and the Carter key out. Now it's just one screw, a castle screw they call it. That surprising me, it is really surprising to me because this bolt is never tight. Like just that little bitty, this aluminum little bitty pin right here is what holds this screw on your spindle. It's weird. See, it's just pretty much finger tight. You screw this off and that whole rotor just flies off. Your bearings are in here, everything comes right off. But anyway, I'm gonna continue on. I'm finna actually backtrack because I skipped a few steps I wanted to do first. So I'm gonna go back, get my caliper off, and then come back to the rotor. So let's go backwards. All right, so quick update. I already got my caliper and the rotor off. You see the open spindle right here. I forgot to tell you about what size wrench or socket you're gonna need for your ball joint screw and for your tie rod end. The tie rod end screw. So I got a 7/8 wrench right here. Don't want to focus. You should probably have a socket, but this wrench is just fine. I might buy a socket to tighten it back up, but might not. I got tricks. And you're gonna need an 18mm socket for your tie rod end. And also a pry bar, a long, thick piece of metal for your lower control arm. You gotta get up in here and pry that ball joint from its socket. So as we go, I'll show you that. All right, stay tuned. All right, YouTube, another update. I ran into a problem. I was looking at my ball joints at the bottom of them here. Let me show you this. It looks like There's some spot welds. Let me get a pointer. I think somebody did some work on here before, and it's like spot welds right here holding this ball joint on the lower control arm, even over there on that one. So I'm not sure this is factory, like a factory stopper, to where when it goes inside the control arm it stops. I don't know, but I don't have a grinder to grind this down so I can press that out. Because normally when you see things like that, it's because it's an issue somewhere else. These ball joints have little grooves on them that when they go on the control arm, it seats in the control arm so that way it don't spin and it can't rotate. The only time I ever seen spot welds is when that ball joint was stripped on the inside and it was spinning, so they welded to keep it in place from turning. So I'm assuming that's the same issue with this. So this gonna be out of my hands. This might be a professional. I'm professional, but this might be a professional who has welding tools and grinders. This may be a job for them. So for now, I'm gonna bypass putting the ball joints in. I wanted to have new ball joints on here before I put my wheels on, but I'm gonna have to come back to that later. So from this point on, we're gonna just do the rotors and the brakes and go from there. All right, so after that small disappointment with those spot welds on my ball joint, I put the carter keys and the screws back on and the tire rod. I'm gonna go ahead and start back with the rotors now. So my next step is about to be, I'm gonna kind of clean this spindle off. I'm gonna re-grease this and put my new seal on. So you wanna have this area here clean. This is where your seal sits. This is the seal that goes behind the rotor. As you can see on my old one here, seal still stuck over inside there in the old bearing. So it's one of the old bearings, and the seal was already pressed inside these rotors. Sometimes you buy rotors and you gotta press them in yourself. Sometimes they come already pressed in, which is a good thing. So what I'm gonna do is I gotta grease pack these new bearings. I'm gonna show you how that works. Got my grease right here. All right, so as you just seen me doing, I just pretty much filled my bearings with grease. All I did was just took them and I pressed them down in the grease, pressed them on each side of this can, just kept going around the can until I seen grease coming from in between, like the little in between plates on the bearing. You want to see grease all the way through your bearings. That's the main thing. Now I'm finna go ahead and insert them in the rotors, install my seal, and then install the rotor back on the spindle. I'm gonna make sure I grease my spindle up too. But one last thing, what you want to have is something, because this seal goes on the back of your rotor like this. Now normally I just take a hammer and just go around the sides until it goes all the way in. But you don't want it to start wrong. If it starts crooked, you can mess your seal up. So you want to have something that can kind of like sit on top of the seal to where it's flush. This is a bad example, but it's all I really have right now. Take your hammer and just tap that. That way that seal will go flat, flush into the rotor. So all right, let me get to it. So I got me a 10mm wrench. My bleeder screw that is right here. So I'm gonna open that up. You have to have somebody help you pump the brake pedal up until that brake pedal gets hard, and then you open your valve up to release any air that's in your calipers. Alright YouTube, so there you have it. Got my new rotors, new brake pads, brake calipers, grease cap, all new. I couldn't get to my tie rod ends or my ball joints because of what I showed you with those little issues. So I'm gonna have to send it out to a shop, let somebody else do it. I'm a little mad about that, but hey, I need a break anyway, so I ain't tripping. If you got any questions, leave a comment. I got this whole brake assembly kit from, I think it came from Summit, I believe. It came with everything. New screws, new bushings, everything except for the bearings. I had to go buy the bearings separately. But it looked good, so. Now I gotta just check my brake fluid, because it was full, and see I went that far down, so I gotta fill this back up to the top. Other than that, we good.